Bennett was utterly astounded when, during a leisurely hike through a serene forest, he stumbled upon a hidden cave so vast it seemed like a portal to another world. The entrance was cloaked by dense foliage, making it a discovery that felt both accidental and fated, as if the forest had whispered its secrets just to him. Tucked away behind a lush, overgrown bush, Bennett stumbled upon the cave entirely by chance while foraging for berries and other edible treats in the forest. It was a serendipitous moment, one where curiosity quickly overtook the initial surprise, prompting a deeper exploration into the unknown that lay before him. Hiker finds strange-looking stones in cave, expert turns pale after examining them. Standing at the mouth of the cave, Bennett realized he was woefully unprepared for what lay ahead. The thrill of discovery was tempered by a sense of caution. Without a helmet, proper lighting, or safety gear, venturing deeper seemed like a gamble with fate. Yet, the call of the unknown tugged at his adventurous spirit, urging him to peer into the shadows. There was an unmistakable pull towards the cave, a sense of mystery that Bennett couldn't shake off. With an adventurous spirit guiding his actions, he secured one end of his rope around the sturdy bush and fastened the other around his waist, a makeshift safety measure for the journey ahead. Inside, the cave presented a treacherous path. The ground was slick with moisture, each step a careful negotiation with the slippery stone beneath his feet. Bennett moved with deliberate slowness, his eyes glued to the ground to avoid a misstep. However, his singular focus on the floor meant he neglected to watch for the jagged edges and low-hanging threats from above. The sharp pain came unexpectedly as Bennett ducked into the cave, his hand instantly flying to his forehead where a small tender bump began to form. "Ouch," he exclaimed, more startled than hurt. Thankfully, there was no blood, just a throbbing reminder of the cave's less than welcoming entrance. As Bennett delved further into the cave's heart, he noticed the walls inching closer, the space narrowing around him like a closing embrace. It felt like the earth itself was guiding him, or perhaps leading him to an end. Despite the claustrophobic squeeze, curiosity propelled him forward, his mind alight with the possibility of what lay at this tunnel's end. Crawling on his hands and knees, Bennett navigated the narrowing passage until the cave opened up slightly, revealing its hidden treasures. It was a moment of discovery, the kind that makes every scrape and bruise worthwhile, as he laid eyes on what lay at the cave's deepest reach. The beam from his flashlight revealed an unexpected sight at the cave's deepest point. An array of strange, brown-tinted rocks scattered across the ground. They were peculiar in their roundness and uniformity, looking almost out of place against the natural chaos of the cave floor, sparking a flurry of questions in his mind. The sight took Bennett's breath away, leaving him in awe of the stones that glittered in the dim light. With a determination fueled by curiosity, Bennett began documenting the mysterious formation, capturing it from every conceivable angle with his camera. Yet, as he reviewed the images, a nagging feeling told him that photographs alone wouldn't suffice to uncover the secrets these stones held. Careful not to disturb the pristine condition of his find, Bennett opted for a delicate approach, collecting samples with a cotton swab. The significance of the moment wasn't lost on him. He knew the next step was crucial, getting a specialist to see this firsthand. Retracing his steps out of the cave, Bennett followed the lifeline he had wisely laid out before him, a simple rope that now felt like a tether to the outside world. He emerged into the forest with a new mission: to pinpoint his exact location, knowing that only precise coordinates would lead a specialist to this hidden marvel. With a flicker of hope that his phone would cooperate, Bennett pulled out his device and was relieved to find he had cell service. Google Maps quickly became his guide, providing the exact coordinates needed to share this remarkable discovery with an expert. Armed with his location, Bennett faced the daunting task of finding an expert willing to venture into the forest's heart, based on the word of an amateur explorer. His day was spent in a flurry of phone calls, reaching out to geologists and specialists with a mix of hope and desperation, until at last, he found someone intrigued enough by his discovery to make the journey. The excitement in George's voice was palpable, even through the phone, as Bennett described his find and shared pictures. Promising to make the journey the following day, George's interest affirmed Bennett's belief that what he had found was truly extraordinary. As night fell, Bennett embraced the forest as his temporary home, setting up camp with practiced ease. The excitement of the day's discovery mingled with the peace of the wilderness as he prepared a simple meal and settled in for the night, the stars his only companions. The sound of an approaching motor tore Bennett from his sleep, leaving him momentarily disoriented. He scrambled to unzip his tent, peering out to identify the source of the disturbance, his heart racing with anticipation. Meeting George the next morning brought a mix of relief and surprise. Bennett had conjured an image of a traditional geologist, but George defied every expectation with his casual demeanor and unconventional equipment. Their introduction was a blend of awkwardness and amusement, setting the stage for a partnership driven by shared curiosity. George wasted no time, his curiosity as palpable as the morning dew. "So, where are these rocks, then?" he asked, an urgency in his voice that snapped Bennett to full alertness. Together, they ventured into the cave, Bennett still rubbing the sleep from his eyes. This time, Bennett forewent the safety precaution of a tethering rope, confident in the cave's straightforward layout. The absence of complex tunnels and dead ends made him feel more like an explorer than a spelunker, emboldened by the light of day and George's presence. With confidence born of repeated journeys, Bennett led the way, recounting the story of his discovery to George. The final stretch required them to get down on hands and knees, a small price to pay for the wonders that awaited. George's awe at the sight of the rocks mirrored Bennett's initial reaction, a moment of shared excitement that bonded them in their quest for knowledge. Bennett proudly presented the samples he had collected, eager to see what insights George might glean from them. George's hesitant acceptance of the samples masked his inner excitement. "Thanks," he said, trying to maintain a professional demeanor. "These will be helpful," he added, already pondering the possibilities they represented. Watching George work was like witnessing a master at his craft. His focus was intense as he examined the rocks, jotting down observations and capturing images with a precision that spoke of years of experience. Bennett felt a mix of awe and anticipation, wondering what secrets these stones would reveal. Bennett's excitement bubbled over as he asked George about the potential significance of his find. The possibility of having made a new discovery set his heart racing, eager for any. George's meticulous examination soon gave way to a realization that the mystery of the rocks couldn't be unraveled on site. The announcement that they would need to be studied in a lab was met with a mix of disappointment and excitement by Bennett, who had become a willing participant in the pursuit of knowledge. Pressing for answers, Bennett repeated his question, hoping for some insight. George's grunt in response was less than satisfying, leaving Bennett hanging on the edge of anticipation. As George prepared his samples for transport, Bennett dismantled his temporary home in the forest. He couldn't help but glance at George's quad bike, a symbol of their impending journey back to civilization, with a sense of adventure still burning brightly within him. Emerging from the cave, George's attention shifted momentarily to the quad, a proud smile crossing his face as he remarked on its beauty. It was a brief distraction from the task at hand, but it highlighted the blend of nature and technology that characterized their expedition. Bennett's curiosity about George's quad was evident in his gaze, a mix of admiration for the machine and anticipation for the ride ahead. His casual remark hid an eagerness to see the quad in action, to feel the thrill of speeding through the forest paths. Sensing Bennett's mixed feelings, George extended an offer for a ride back to the lab. The prospect of speeding through the forest paths on the quad ignited a spark of excitement in Bennett, overshadowing his initial concerns for the wildlife. The moment the quad engine roared to life, Bennett felt a surge of excitement, a physical echo of the day's discoveries. Watching George navigate the terrain with skill was a reminder of the blend of technology and nature, of the journey back to a world where their findings could make a difference. Clinging tightly as they sped through the forest, Bennett felt a rush of adrenaline. The landscape blurred into a beautiful tapestry of colors, the experience a thrilling blend of speed and nature's majesty. As they emerged from the forest's embrace into a clearing, Bennett was greeted by the sight of George's laboratory. It was a hidden gem, modest yet equipped with the tools of discovery, a place where the secrets of their findings could be unlocked. The lab appeared before them like a scene from a futuristic film, its satellite dishes and solar panels gleaming in the sunlight. It was a stark contrast to the natural beauty they had just traversed, promising a bridge between the ancient and the cutting edge. Entering the lab, Bennett was struck by the cool, controlled environment, a stark contrast to the wild, humid embrace of the forest. It was a sanctuary of science, where the mysteries of the natural world could be explored and understood. Stepping into the lab was like entering a new world, one filled with technological marvels. Bennett was awestruck by the array of equipment and data, each piece a testament to the depths of geological exploration and discovery. Bennett watched, barely breathing, as George set up his equipment with practiced ease. The anticipation of what they might discover together filled the room, a silent testament to the journey from the heart of a hidden cave to the edge of new knowledge. As Bennett peppered George with questions, his enthusiasm was palpable. The mystery of the rocks consumed his thoughts, each potential answer a tantalizing piece of the puzzle they were beginning to unravel together. George took Bennett on an informative tour around the lab, highlighting the state-of-the-art high-resolution microscopes, seismic imaging tools, and an impressive collection of mineral and rock samples. Each piece of equipment had a story, a purpose, and George shared these with a passion that was both infectious and enlightening. Every device in the lab held Bennett's fascination, from the simplest tool to the most complex machinery. George, with a patience born of years in the field, explained their functions, weaving a narrative of science and discovery that captivated Bennett. As they navigated the lab's intricate array of scientific wonders, Bennett couldn't help but spill his theories about the mysterious rocks. His ideas spanned from their geological age to speculative origins, even entertaining the notion they could be remnants of a meteorite, each theory more adventurous than the last. George listened to Bennett's theories with a mix of appreciation and skepticism. While he valued Bennett's enthusiasm, the gap between intuition and scientific validation was ever present in his mind, a balancing act between encouraging exploration and grounding it in empirical evidence. With the precision of a seasoned scientist, George prepared the workspace, laying out the rock samples with care that bordered on reverence. He initiated the preliminary analysis with a focus that was almost tangible, peering through the microscope lens and conducting chemical tests to peel back the layers of this geological mystery. Leaning in eagerly, Bennett sought to catch a glimpse of the results, his curiosity undimmed by the technical intricacies. "What do you think? Anything interesting?" he asked, his voice tinged with hope and a relentless desire to learn. Bennett, brimming with questions and barely contained excitement, fluttered around George's workspace like a moth drawn to a flame. Despite the occasional furrow of annoyance on George's brow, Bennett's enthusiasm was as undimmed as it was infectious, his eyes catching every detail of the unfolding analysis. Bennett's imagination was alight with possibilities, each test and observation a clue in the unfolding mystery of their discovery. The anticipation of what they might uncover filled him with an insatiable curiosity, driving him to seek answers in the heart of the unknown. Seeing George's puzzled expressions morph into intrigue, Bennett's excitement surged to new heights. Could this mean we've stumbled upon something truly extraordinary? He wondered aloud, his voice a mix of hope and exhilaration, already dreaming of the endless possibilities. With each test and analysis, George's initial hunch that they were on the cusp of a groundbreaking discovery seemed to solidify. His mind was alight with possibilities, oscillating between the idea that these could be remnants of a previously unknown natural phenomenon, or, more thrillingly, evidence of extraterrestrial origins. Despite the tantalizing hints of discovery, George maintained a veneer of professional caution, reminding Bennett that science was a marathon, not a sprint. He stressed the importance of thorough, detailed examination before drawing any grand conclusions, even if the initial results seemed to hint at something revolutionary. Bennett sensed a shift in the atmosphere as George approached their work with a methodical rigor that seemed to dampen the initial thrill of discovery. Though a part of him felt a twinge of disappointment, he recognized the importance of a disciplined approach. The spark of excitement remained, now mixed with a newfound appreciation for the meticulous path that lay ahead in their scientific endeavor. The more they delved into the tests, the clearer it became that these rocks were no ordinary find. Exhibiting a unique molecular structure and an unusual resilience to heat and pressure, they seemed to defy the conventional understanding of minerals, hinting at a discovery that could challenge existing scientific paradigms. For George, who typically embraced his work with a calm and methodical demeanor, the findings stirred an unusual sense of fascination. This was no ordinary geological specimen, it was a venture into unknown scientific landscapes, a prospect that quietly thrilled him, urging him to delve deeper into the mystery. Leaning thoughtfully against a lab counter, Bennett found himself lost in speculation about the origins and nature of these enigmatic rocks. Their presence was a riddle wrapped in a mystery, a puzzle that seemed to beckon him deeper into the realm of the unknown. As the day progressed, the intrigue only deepened, with more questions arising than answers. George found himself lost in thought, considering possibilities that bordered on the fantastical. The potential implications of their findings seemed to expand with every new piece of data, each theory more captivating than the last. The dynamic in the lab subtly shifted as George's patience began to fray under the barrage of Bennett's incessant questions and theories. Each new query seemed to etch a deeper line of frustration around George's mouth, a testament to the growing tension between curiosity and the need for scientific rigor. Bennett, blissfully unaware of the strain his enthusiasm was causing, continued to bombard George with questions and theories. Meanwhile, George struggled to maintain his composure, taking deep breaths to calm the growing frustration at what he perceived as Bennett's naive excitement. Attempting to diplomatically redirect Bennett's boundless curiosity, George hinted at the lengthy and complex nature of the analysis process. It was a gentle nudge, suggesting that perhaps Bennett's time could be better spent elsewhere, at least for the moment. Attempting to subtly encourage Bennett to give him some space, George mentioned the lengthy and often monotonous nature of their tests. He hoped Bennett would take the hint and allow him some quiet to focus on the complex analysis required. Yet, Bennett seemed blissfully unaware of George's hints, his fascination undimmed by the prospect of a lengthy wait. Far from being deterred, he seemed even more captivated by the depth and complexity of the scientific process, eager to learn and experience more. Yet, Bennett's response was undeterred, his smile unwavering as he expressed his willingness to wait, no matter how long it took. His eagerness to be a part of the scientific process, to absorb every detail of the work being done, was clear. He was fully committed to the journey of discovery, regardless of the patience it required. Bennett's relentless enthusiasm, though rooted in a genuine thirst for knowledge, began to wear thin on George's patience. Each overeager question and unsolicited suggestion from Bennett was met with a measured response, though George's irritation was becoming increasingly hard to mask. George valued a quiet, focused work environment, finding Bennett's constant presence and chatter to be a significant disruption. Nevertheless, he tried to remind himself of the enthusiasm he once had at the start of his career, attempting to view Bennett's incessant questions and excitement as a reflection of his own once burning passion for discovery. For Bennett, this adventure was more than just a scientific endeavor, it was the thrill of being at the frontier of discovery. The chance to be part of unveiling something new to the world was an exhilarating prospect that he wasn't willing to relinquish lightly. Bennett's determination to contribute and learn was evident. He offered to help in whatever way he could, whether by documenting their findings, organizing the lab, or simply observing the tests closely. His unwavering interest and willingness to assist showcased his deep engagement with the unfolding mystery. As George progressed to more advanced testing techniques, Bennett watched in awe. The lab was alight with the glow of spectroscopy and the hum of radiometric dating equipment, each test peeling back another layer of the mystery, revealing insights that seemed to broaden the horizon of their discovery. The incoming data was a complex web of information that, to Bennett, seemed almost alien in its intricacy. Yet, his fascination with the unfolding mystery only grew, each new piece of data a tantalizing hint at the greater puzzle they were attempting to solve. With every new piece of data, Bennett's fascination deepened. He was a sponge, absorbing every explanation, every hypothesis that George offered, each test result, adding to the tapestry of understanding they were together weaving about these unusual rocks. Despite George's evident irritation, Bennett's curiosity remained unabated. He bombarded George with questions, each one driven by a genuine desire to understand the significance of their discovery and its potential impact on the broader scientific community. George's hints became more pointed, a clear indication that he needed space to focus on the intricate analyses required. Yet, Bennett's enthusiasm seemed to act as a shield, deflecting these suggestions with a polite but firm insistence on staying involved. George hinted at the idea that Bennett might be more comfortable waiting outside, away from the painstakingly slow and detailed analysis that might not hold the interest of a layperson. He hoped Bennett would appreciate the suggestion and allow him some much-needed space to concentrate. Bennett, ever the eager participant, was thoroughly engrossed in every aspect of the lab's workings. He meticulously took notes on George's methods, posed insightful questions that showed his deep engagement, and even volunteered for tasks within his skill set, eager to contribute in any way he could. Bennett's enthusiasm was a beacon of light in the dimly lit lab, his eyes gleaming with an insatiable curiosity as he hung on every word George uttered. No matter how monotonous or intricate the task at hand became, his interest remained steadfast, a testament to his genuine passion for the unfolding mystery. The significance of their findings began to dawn on Bennett as the day wore on. The rock's unique characteristics, so divergent from anything in geological literature, hinted at a discovery of monumental importance. Bennett found himself caught up in the wonder of it all, contemplating the potential impact on the scientific community. The thrill of the chase, coupled with a newfound reverence for the meticulous nature of scientific inquiry, filled Bennett with a complex blend of emotions. Standing on the precipice of what could be a landmark discovery, he felt a profound sense of humility, interlaced with the electric buzz of anticipation, fully aware that they were teetering on the edge of the unknown. The lab atmosphere was electric, charged with the thrill of potential discovery and the palpable tension between George and Bennett. This tension was a silent testament to their clashing approaches and personalities, adding an undercurrent of human drama to their scientific endeavor. Meanwhile, George's reservoir of patience was rapidly depleting, his irritation bubbling beneath the surface with every question Bennett posed, each interruption more jarring than the last. Oblivious to the growing storm of frustration in George's eyes, Bennett was lost in a world of wonder, his mind racing with the possibilities that lay before them. George's frustration with Bennett's incessant theorizing and speculative comments grew with each passing moment. What began as mild irritation had escalated to a more pronounced annoyance, as Bennett's boundless enthusiasm seemed to encroach upon George's methodical, analytical space. George was a creature of solitude and silence, his life's work defined by the quietude and deliberate pace of scientific discovery. Bennett's unbridled enthusiasm and ceaseless barrage of questions invaded this sanctuary, creating a dissonance that George found increasingly difficult to harmonize with his own methodical approach. Bennett's mind was a whirlwind of theories concerning the rock's origins, ranging from scientifically grounded to the borders of science fiction. His enthusiastic delivery of each theory, though well-intentioned, only served to fray George's patience further, highlighting the chasm between their perspectives. Whenever the conversation veered too far into the realm of conjecture, George would firmly guide it back to solid ground, his voice a tether pulling Bennett back from the edge of speculative abyss. Yet, Bennett's mind refused to be caged, soaring on the wings of imagination, undeterred by George's insistence on empirical evidence and factual accuracy. The stark differences in their personalities became more evident as their work progressed. George valued precision and a systematic approach, favoring silence and reflection, while Bennett thrived on expression, spontaneity, and the exchange of ideas, illustrating a classic clash of minds in the pursuit of knowledge. What began as a minor friction between their differing personalities and approaches had escalated into a tangible tension that permeated the lab. This clash, once an undercurrent, was now a wave threatening to wash away the fragile bridge of their collaborative effort. Despite the tension, their collaboration edged them closer to a breakthrough. The data from the latest tests painted a tantalizing picture, suggesting they were on the cusp of a discovery that could shake the foundations of geological science. Yet, amidst the storm of their conflicting natures, the singular aim to demystify the enigmatic rocks served as a delicate bond, the glue holding together their strained partnership. This common purpose, to decipher the story of the rocks, became the lifeline they both clung to, a reminder of why they had embarked on this journey together. A critical juncture was reached when George analyzed the most recent test results, revealing data that defied conventional understanding. This moment was a turning point, marking the transition from routine analysis to the brink of a groundbreaking revelation. George's seasoned eyes scanned the data with a mix of disbelief and dawning realization. The patterns defied conventional wisdom, signaling that they were on the cusp of charting unknown scientific waters. This wasn't just an anomaly, it was a clarion call to the dawn of a groundbreaking discovery. As George dove deeper into the data, the evidence began to coalesce around an extraordinary conclusion. They had identified a mineral entirely new to science. This revelation was not just an academic curiosity, it was a door to new realms of geological understanding. Every test they conducted, every analysis they ran, seemed to peel back a layer of the ordinary to reveal the extraordinary lurking beneath. Bennett watched, barely breathing, as the implications of their findings began to crystallize, his excitement mirrored in the sparkle of his eyes and the eager tilt of his head. Bennett was overwhelmed with elation at the realization of what they had achieved. Dreams of academic recognition and the exhilarating rush of contributing to a significant scientific breakthrough filled his mind, a vivid fantasy of their names etched in the annals of science. A sense of gravity settled over George as he contemplated the magnitude of their discovery. While the thrill of unearthing something new exhilarated him, the weight of ensuring its scientific integrity and the rigorous process of validation loomed large, a sobering counterbalance to the initial euphoria. The initial surge of excitement gradually gave way to a profound appreciation of the discovery's magnitude. For Bennett, this was the culmination of a lifelong dream, an opportunity to leave his mark on the world in a meaningful, enduring way. For George, this moment was a monumental pivot in his career, a juncture that held the promise of acclaim, yet was fraught with the anxiety of the unknown. The path forward required meticulous documentation and peer validation, a journey as daunting as it was essential to etch their names in the annals of scientific discovery. The realization of their discovery's potential significance dawned on both George and Bennett. They understood that this could be a watershed moment in geology, capable of redefining existing theories, inspiring new research directions, and even yielding unforeseen practical applications. The realization that they had unearthed a secret that the Earth had concealed for eons was not just exhilarating, it was humbling. They stood as the first witnesses to a natural marvel that had waited through millennia to be discovered, a hidden gem that shed new light on the planet's untold stories. However, beneath the shared triumph, Bennett detected subtle indications of George's desire to claim the lion's share of credit for their discovery. This realization sowed seeds of doubt and unease, casting a shadow over their collaborative spirit. As the days passed, the subtle shift in George's language from inclusive we to a singular I began to gnaw at Bennett. The oversight of his role in the discovery, once an oversight he could overlook, now stood out starkly, casting a shadow over the thrill of their find and hinting at a brewing storm of recognition and credit. Confronted with the possibility of being marginalized in the narrative of their discovery, Bennett grappled with feelings of betrayal and disappointment. The thought of his contributions being overshadowed or forgotten stirred a deep sense of injustice within him. Amidst a whirlwind of emotions, Bennett felt a spark of resolve ignite within him. The thought of his contributions being overshadowed by George's scientific prowess was unsettling, yet it fueled a determination to ensure his role in the discovery was not relegated to a footnote. He was steadfast in his resolve to be recognized as a co-discoverer, his discovery being the first step in unveiling a new scientific marvel. Determined to assert his role in their joint achievement, Bennett resolved to confront the issue head-on. The importance of recognizing his contribution to the discovery was a hill he was prepared to stand on, a matter of principle and pride. Initially, Bennett had looked up to George, seeing him as a mentor figure whose expertise in geology far eclipsed his own amateur enthusiasm for the natural world. However, as their work progressed, Bennett began to recognize the intrinsic value of his own contributions. His initial discovery, driven by curiosity and a keen eye, was the cornerstone upon which the entire investigation was built. Yet, Bennett's resolve was tinged with internal conflict. His respect for George's scientific acumen and gratitude for the opportunity to be involved in such a pivotal discovery created a complex emotional landscape, fraught with indecision and respect. The thought of confronting George filled Bennett with a tumult of emotions, predominantly fear and a sense of injustice. The possibility of tarnishing their professional relationship weighed heavily on him, casting a shadow over the thrill of their shared discovery. Yet, the idea of his contributions being minimized, or worse, overlooked, was a pill too bitter to swallow. Armed with a rehearsed speech that balanced firmness with respect, Bennett steeled himself for a potentially difficult conversation. He sought to navigate the delicate balance between asserting his rights and preserving the professional relationship that had brought them to this point. Despite the internal turmoil, Bennett's resolve hardened. He understood the importance of standing his ground, of ensuring that the narrative of their discovery accurately reflected his crucial role in finding the rocks. It was a daunting prospect, but one that Bennett knew was necessary for the integrity of their discovery and for his own peace of mind. Approaching George with a mixture of apprehension and determination, Bennett broached the topic of credit distribution. "We need to talk about how we're going to acknowledge this discovery," he said, aiming for a tone that was both assertive and conciliatory. George's initial reaction to Bennett's concerns was one of surprise and defensiveness, a natural response from someone who had devoted countless hours to the scientific analysis of the find. "What do you mean?" "I've done the scientific analysis," George protested, his tone a mixture of confusion and defensiveness. The conversation rapidly escalated as Bennett insisted on the acknowledgement of his role, and George highlighted his technical contributions. The room felt charged as Bennett and George's disagreement reached a fever pitch, each word sharpening the divide between them. Bennett, feeling pushed to the margins of a discovery he stumbled upon, was struggling to assert his contribution. George, on the other hand, viewed Bennett's insistence on recognition as an intrusion into the sanctity of his scientific work, a realm where he had dedicated years of his life. "I was the one who found these rocks, who recognized their importance," Bennett argued with a mix of frustration and determination. George countered, "But without my analysis and expertise, they'd just be stones," emphasizing the scientific work that validated their significance. The exchange underscored the tension between. Amid the rising tension, the air crackled with the weight of their words as they each took turns detailing their involvement in the discovery. Bennett laid his emotions bare, emphasizing that without his initial stumble upon the rocks and the gut feeling that there was something more to them, these marvels of nature might have never seen the light of day. George listened, his stance rigid, as he weighed Bennett's impassioned recounting against his own deep-seated beliefs about scientific discovery and ownership. As the discussion unfolded, George detailed the intricate analysis that had unveiled the true nature of the rocks, acknowledging the complexity of the scientific process. It became evident that their discovery was the result of a symbiotic partnership, with both Bennett's intuitive discovery and George's rigorous analysis being crucial to the unveiling of the rock's secrets. As voices raised and tempers flared, a sudden realization dawned upon both men. The significance of their find transcended personal accolades. It was a momentous occasion for science, a breakthrough that could reshape understanding in their field. This acknowledgement acted like a splash of cold water, dampening their heated exchange and opening their eyes to the bigger picture. Collaboration was not just beneficial but necessary. Through the course of their conversation, a mutual recognition of each other's contributions began to emerge. George conceded the importance of Bennett's discovery, while Bennett acknowledged the indispensable nature of George's scientific analysis. This understanding paved the way for a resolution that honored both their efforts. A tentative peace emerged from the ashes of their argument as Bennett and George found common ground, agreeing to share the limelight. This decision to co-announce the discovery, with explicit recognition of Bennett's keen observation and George's analytical prowess, marked a new chapter in their relationship. It was a partnership forged not just in the excitement of discovery, but in the acknowledgement of each other's crucial role in bringing it to fruition. Coming to terms with their intertwined roles in the discovery, they agreed to co-author any forthcoming scientific papers, ensuring that both would receive equal credit for their work. This agreement symbolized a turning point in their relationship, from contention to collaboration. In preparation for the press conference, Bennett and George found themselves in an unexpected collaboration, weaving their narratives into a cohesive statement. This task, once a source of contention, now became a symbol of their newfound understanding. They meticulously ensured that the statement reflected their unique contributions, embodying the spirit of cooperation that had belatedly defined their partnership. In preparing for public presentations and papers, Bennett chose to focus on the narrative of his adventurous discovery, while George detailed the scientific journey of analysis and validation. This division allowed them to highlight their individual contributions while maintaining a unified front on the significance of their work. When the day of the press conference arrived, the response was nothing short of spectacular. The scientific community and media alike were captivated by the story of discovery and collaboration. Bennett was hailed for his exploratory spirit and George for his scientific rigor, each receiving accolades that recognized their individual strengths while highlighting the synergy that made their discovery possible. When the time came to step into the public eye, they did so as a united front, answering questions and participating in photo opportunities that showcased their partnership. The shared recognition they received was a testament to the essential nature of both their contributions to the success of their discovery. In the quiet aftermath of the press conference, Bennett and George shared a reflective moment, a chance to breathe and look back on the tumultuous path that led them here. They discussed the early misunderstandings, the friction that almost derailed their efforts, and the eventual realization that their shared goal was bigger than any dispute. This introspection helped cement a mutual respect that had been hard-won through conflict and compromise. Reflecting on their journey, both Bennett and George realized the lessons they had learned from one another. Bennett gained insight into the rigorous nature of scientific discovery, while George learned to value and acknowledge contributions from non-traditional sources, highlighting the importance of diverse perspectives in the pursuit of knowledge. As news of their discovery spread, igniting imaginations and sparking discussions across the globe, Bennett and George found themselves at the threshold of new beginnings. Their conversations turned to future endeavors, the potential of combining Bennett's instinctive curiosity with George's analytical acumen. The excitement for what lay ahead was palpable, a testament to the transformative power of their joint discovery and the promise of their combined efforts in future explorations. Their story culminated in a newfound mutual respect and a shared desire to continue their collaborative efforts. The experience not only brought them closer, but also ignited a shared enthusiasm for future explorations, setting the stage for their next adventure in unraveling the mysteries of the natural world. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe.